there's only so much bandwidth in our heads.
Yeah.
I hope we can remember, like, what makes these 6 months special.
They'll remember it in Atlanta and New York, for sure. But your general point, there's just too much. In the NFL, every playoff game, no matter how many teams they add, is one game. Here we're talking about a series. In the NBA and the NHL, there's no such thing that compares to a pennant race. It's all playoff qualifying. Nobody remembers where they finished as long as they got to the finals and maybe won the championship. Baseball has a different history and a much longer regular season, and there's a trade-off between that and expanding the playoffs. There's reasons why expanding the playoffs is appealing, but something's lost and something's gained.
Yeah, I love this. And Al Leiter, you lived through this, so you know the grind and the slog and the excellence. That's why I hate to say it, I agree with you, not a collapse. There's a lot of excellence. This weekend, though, that was surprising. You would not have bet that way, that the Braves would take all three.
Sweep, no. And mostly just as you had alluded to with the tape, and it was great that you have premium guys pitching. I still think and would trust as a Mets fan, of course this has come from a Mets point of view, is that you have to believe that DeGrom and Scherzer pitch like the Cy Young Award winners that they are. We could go into the nuance of how the game played out, but the reality is that the Braves played better in every facet.
Can I ask you something specific, though? Can I get specific with you?
Yeah.
You walked a lot of guys when you pitched. Because in your day it was, I'm not going to give in. I'm going to pitch around this guy. Where are you on DeGrom? 11 strikeouts, no walks, 3 home runs.
I'm on DeGrom being as dominant as he is. I have no problem with that. Here's what I did notice in this game. He's a guy that is a glove side dominant guy. There's a slider that he left out over the plate. You look at this. His command is impeccable, guys. For a guy that throws 98 to 102 miles an hour, he has unbelievable command. Even for a guy like this, and I think pitchers out there, whatever level you are, a guy of his stuff, you still have to be able to locate.
What I'm asking you, though, is could he have walked a few guys?
Why?
Well, all right.
He gave up 4 hits, 3 solo homers.
In your masterpiece, right? In the play-in game, right, against the Reds. Was that 99?
Yeah.
Was that 99? You remember
Yep.
that. You pitched a shutout. You gave up 2 hits. You walked 4 guys. So you were a little more careful about not giving up the bomb, and you pitched a masterpiece.
Okay.
So how about 11 strikeouts, no walks? That's great for your FIP, Al, but that's not great for winning the game. You see what I did there? I did the heel turn on you.
DeGrom has been a guy, in addition to the low ERA when he's at his best, that incredible ratio of strikeouts to walks. Right. So that's been the way he's pitched. And by and large, he's pitched that way when he was allowing 1 or 2 runs per outing for like 30 straight outings. He just missed his spots here 3 times.
And maybe Elijah in my ear can help me. But wasn't it just a couple starts before that he did walk a few guys out in Oakland? I think he had 4 walks.
All right.
So.
But he wasn't sharp.
No.
Anyway, his ERA is 6 over the last 4.
I know we got to move, but
we should let him speak.
Yeah, no, John. Right. So here's the difference. Here's a lineup. Here's a lineup that, and I was thinking 1998 or the Yankees back when it was difficult to get through. The pitches per plate appearance. There was 30% of the batters over the weekend that saw 6 pitches or more. That was 50% increase. Yeah, I'm throwing some numbers at you right now.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Elijah.
I'm looking.
Now, what does that mean? There's a grind there, even with the elite stuff of Scherzer and DeGrom. I know Bassett isn't as much of a strikeout guy, but you have to. I don't like it as a pitcher, but you got to tip your hat once in a while and say, dang, these guys had a good approach. Their lineup through and through. I watched this series closely. They were fouling tough pitches, and they made these guys work.
Oh, no question. No doubt. But again, you're talking about the number 1 guy in the sport, DeGrom, ostensibly pitch for pitch. And I'm just saying, like, if you're looking to say what happened, I would go there. John Heyman, your thoughts?
Yeah, I wouldn't criticize DeGrom. I think the Braves are just a terrific team. You said they're different than last year. Obviously, you don't have Freeman. You've got Olsen, maybe not quite the player as Freeman, but they have most of the best rookies. And Strider, obviously, you got Acuna back. You've got Harris now. I mean, to me, this is a terrific team. This is just the better team, and it's going to play out. This is why we have 162 games. They're the better team.
I think it was this close. Can we take a look at, we have 100-win teams in the same division. Some of these were close, some of these were not. First of all, we have fresh in our memory, hopefully we do remember this, Bob. Giants and Dodgers, 107-106, right? We'll get into a Game 5 in a division series after that. 2001, this wasn't much of a race. Mariners blew out the A's. 1980, I have no recollection. That's amazing. I lived through that. Yankees and Orioles, 103-100. Now, in 2018, that wasn't close. You know, the Yankees were far down from the Red Sox there. And then Braves, Giants, that's Fred McGriff and the Braves, 104, 103. Maybe that's the closest thing.
Well, that actually gave rise to the idea of the wild card. Yeah. Like, how can a team this good be excluded from the playoffs altogether? To Al, isn't it part of the approach for the best teams with some power in their lineup to realize that when they go against someone like DeGrom, we're not going to string 4 hits together. We're going to try to work counts, get into hitter-favorable counts, and hope we can go deep 2 or 3 times. That's probably the best idea, right?
Yeah, and I think that's what we see across the board now. I mean, we're accepting the 230, 240 hitter because his slug and OPS is impressive. Strikes out 185 times a year, maybe 200, and they're giving their A swing. We're trying to do every possible rule in the game to try to level the playing field, but you have an approach for guys to get paid for and be awarded for the A swing and the home run. And it couldn't have been more highlighted. 4 hits, 3 solo home runs.
If they're the right guys. But, John, during the course of this season, the Mets actually have gone against that trend. They've been a rally team to a large extent.
I know, maybe a little too much. It's difficult to rely on that, particularly in the playoffs. That's maybe why the Braves are such a good playoff team. They do hit these home runs. They are a home run hitting team. There are certain teams that just do this. I mean, this is they still have no sacrifice bunts for the year, right? So, I mean, there aren't teams like that. This is the first team like that. They are a home run hitting team. Swanson has become a home run hitter. Obviously, Riley, Acuna, top to bottom, they've got home run hitters.
Yet all this, like, we're kind of doing this is like, now that it's happened this way, we look back with this, confirmation bias. 6 months came down to 1 game. That's how close. So, like, we could be saying, oh, the Mets putting it together. They're the better team by 1 game. I think they're both outstanding. I mean, one measly game.
They talk about a 4-point game in hockey. This is even more than that. If they had won 1 game, it wouldn't just be that they'd be behind the 8 ball like they are. They would be in control.
Right.
And they wouldn't be facing the wild card, which is no longer just 1 game. The way the schedule is in the division series, there's only 1 off day, not 2 like there used to be. If there's a 5th game, you're going to play it back-to-back with the 4th game. There's also no off day between the 5th and 6th games of either LCS anymore. So even if the Mets win the wild card series, unless they use either Scherzer or DeGrom on 3 days rest in one of the starts, neither one would be able to pitch twice in the division series.
Right.
That's the disadvantage of not winning 1 game.
Well, that's what you want.
Against the Braves.
You want to give more to the division champion.
Yes.
I understand you want to put the Dodgers off in the distant future. I get that. But maybe it's better to play them in a 5-game series. They are that good that you may not want to play them over 7 games because over 7 games, the better team is probably going to win.
See, John's making a lot of sense here. Again, if he speaks less,
the smaller
it comes
the
out
sample.
sharper.
I'm going to work on that.
The smaller the sample in any sport, the smaller the sample, the better the chance of an upset.
That's a good point.